Welcome into the Friday college football betting show presented by Betfred Sportsbook. Betfred gives you more. I am Drew Martin, breaking down 3 games on the Saturday slate that I just got down on, starting with 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific in the Big 12. Lubbock, Texas is where we're heading here for Texas Tech +2 as the underdog. I'm going with the home dog. They're hosting Oklahoma, so it's the Sooners at the Red Raiders. Oklahoma -2, total of 65. First, start off with the Oklahoma side of things, guys. Brent Venable, his first year on the job, kind of been a tough go of it here. Not the same Oklahoma team that we're used to in years past. Lincoln Riley, of course, off to USC to be the head coach of the Trojans. They got a big game here against Notre Dame, trying to get into the playoffs. But talking about this game, last week, Oklahoma in Bedlam playing against Oklahoma State. Obviously, a big game for the Sooners. They did win the game 28-13. However, when you look a little bit deeper, kind of under the hood here, they actually got outscored 13-0 in the second half. So they got out to a 28-point lead and then were scoreless in the second half pretty much against the Oklahoma State team that's kind of banged up right now. They got out-yarded by 50 yards and they were +2 in the turnover battle. So I kind of think that score was a little bit misleading. Looking on the Texas Tech side of things, this is a tough Texas Tech team. Hard-nosed. They play, fairly good defense, all relatively speaking, for normal Texas Tech teams in the past. Last week, they won outright as an underdog. And there's a good stat here I got from Mark Lawrence. Teams in the second to last week that were underdogs that won outright and then have a home game in the last week, they're also an underdog, are on a 22-7 against the spread run when they're coming with revenge. And I think there's actually something to that, guys. Think about it. If you're kind of, hey, is a team motivated or not motivated going into the second to last game? They're obviously underpriced if they win that game outright. Now coming back home, hey, underpriced again. I think they kind of fit this category here. Last thing, guys, weather-wise, Last week, I know was a big part of the show. And unfortunately, just going 1-2, kind of up against it in terms of letting our 2-1 streak go. We were having some good times with the video here. Betfred Sportsbook Friday college football show. And unfortunately, last week just went 1-2. But the theme of the show was kind of using weather to our advantage. And I think we can do that again here. Lubbock, Texas. Keep in mind, whenever you're betting games this weekend, kind of in the South, in the state of Texas, watch the weather report, guys, because there's a big kind of front coming through. I'm actually on the road here, different background in Atlanta, Georgia. It's pretty cold here. And it looks like 15-mile-an-hour winds and upper 30s in Lubbock, Texas in game time. So it's going to be cold. It's going to be windy. And something to take away is Dylan Gabriel, the quarterback for Oklahoma. His background, he played high school football, grew up in the state of Hawaii. And then, those years, he was actually the quarterback for UCF in Orlando, Florida. It doesn't get much upper 30s with 15-mile-an-hour winds in Orlando, Florida either. So I don't think he's going to be really used to the elements. I think it's a big advantage here towards the Texas Tech Red Raiders side. Sprinkle a little bit on the money line. For record-keeping purposes here, guys, we are on Texas Tech, first game, 7:30, prime time Eastern time in Lubbock, Texas, +2, Texas Tech +2. Guys, presented by Betfred Sportsbook. If you don't know Betfred, hey, they are hitting the market in the USA in a big way. They're a big player over in Europe. They're coming in, dedicated pages, variety of betting types, including straight bets, in-play wagering, parlay cards, teasers, and more. Big promotions. You're looking for promotions, kind of getting those free bets. Hey, Betfred giving away, up to $250 when you sign up. Personalized customer service as well. Deposit mobily. If you are in Arizona, Iowa, Maryland, Ohio, Washington, Colorado, Louisiana, Nevada, Pennsylvania, you're going to want to check out Betfred Sportsbook. Betfred gives you more. 2 games left here, 12 noon Eastern, kicking us off on Saturday. Western Kentucky and FAU. Going a little bit off the radar here, but for good reason. We get the Hilltoppers -7.5-point road favorites, 61.5 being the total. This is in Boca Raton, Florida. And a couple things here, guys. I usually don't get to do this. Being a sports bettor for the last 8 years is my straight job. You don't usually get to go to a lot of games because you got to kind of keep up with all the games going on a Saturday. So it's better to actually be in your living room rather than going to the games. But interesting situation here. I've actually seen both of these two teams in person. I saw Western Kentucky last weekend, went to my first Auburn game in quite some time before I actually moved to Costa Rica in 2016. They were actually at Auburn, saw them in person there. And look, they're good for a Conference USA team. But when you want to be betting Western Kentucky, is more in the profile where they can run it up on their opponent. You know, they're a team that has kind of that wide open type of offense. They throw it around a bunch. They kind of have these fluky plays to try to catch the defense off guard. If you can't get a good pass rush against Western Kentucky, they're going to run it up on you. We've seen them do that against the likes of Charlotte, FIU. I mean, they beat FIU 73-0. So that's when you kind of want to be laying points with Western Kentucky. Their quarterback, Austin Reed, his numbers are really good. However, kind of when you see him in person, he's not overly athletic. He's like 6'1", 230. He's got a little belly on him, to tell you the truth. I wasn't all that impressed. He kind of struggled against the Auburn pass rush. And where I'm going after this, the bet is FAU plus 7.5 at Betfred Sportsbook. FAU, if you kind of go by the handicap of how they look coming off of the bus, tell me, you hear Kirby Smart talk about this when he does recruiting. He's the Georgia head football coach. Tell me how many 6'4" guys you have that are 230 plus, pounds and run under a 4.7 40. Tell me how many guys you have that fit that profile, 6'4", 230 and fast. And I'll tell you who's a good football team. FAU actually has a lot of those guys. Their defensive front is pretty big, is pretty athletic. Their linebackers as well. That's kind of their strength, talking about the Owls here. And where their weaknesses is, well, one, kind of putting up points offensively, but two, going on the road. They don't travel well at all. In fact, they're 0-5 on the road. And I put road in quotation marks because that FIU game, the Shula Bowl, I don't know if a lot of people, if you're just kind of looking at the box score, FIU and FAU are, 45 minutes with no traffic away from each other. So I'm counting that not as a road game. Outside of South Florida, FIU's 0-5 on the road. They're 3-0 in South Florida. They play a lot better at home. Look, they need this win to make a bowl. So overall, I think profile-wise, I think it sets up, FAU being at home, plus 7.5. I think Western Kentucky, a little bit overrated here matchup-wise, puts us on the Owls, plus the points. I think that they could win this outright as well. Sprinkle a little bit there on the money line. 2 underdogs in the book. Got one total left, guys. Check out Betfred Sportsbook. Partners with the Colorado Rockies, Denver Broncos. We got Cincinnati Bengals as well. And if you're looking for kind of VIP treatment, Betfred Sportsbook, not going to find one better, guys. Last game here for the show. Hopefully go 3-0, if not 2-1. Off the radar, 2 p.m. in Conference USA. We've had a lot of success in this conference. Hitting it again here, guys. Rice at North Texas, battle in the Lone Star State. North Texas -2 touchdowns, -14-point home favorites, 59.5 being the total. We're betting it under. Weather is the reason why. Upper 40s in Denton, Texas, 15 to 30 mile per hour winds. Rice, the Owls have just scored 7 and 10 points their last 2 games, both games finishing under the point spread. And looking at the North Texas side of things, look, their offense can run it up. This is one of those kind of hold your nose. Obviously, I bet it personally. I think this is going to work. Could North Texas go out and score, 50 plus themselves? Yes, this is gambling for a reason, guys. I don't think they will, though. They had 21 points last time out. They did score 51 against FAU last time, but it kind of works into that same methodology of FAU had quit in them on the road in Denton. Now FAU's back at home for the last game. But this one, I don't think Rice is going to quit on them. They've actually played a little bit better defense, and they're 5-6 on the year. They need one more win to get to a bowl game. This is a motivated Rice team. If you look at the quotes, they want to make a bowl game. They haven't been to one in almost a decade here. Rice football making a bowl game. I think they actually play solid defense. Keep them in the game here. I don't think this reaches 60 points as the total, guys. 59.5. Rice, North Texas, I'm betting it under. That's the last game here, guys. In recap, I'm Drew Martin. This is presented by Betfred Sportsbook. Betfred gives you more. Bonus pick as well. Auburn, rivalry weekend, plus 22. I'm on the Tigers. Carnell Williams got him playing well. And hey, sprinkle a little bit on there. 10-1 Auburn to win outright. Not counting that in the record keeping, but I think the Iron Bowl, they got a shot. Overall, guys, for the show here, Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, +2. FAU, the Owls, +7. And Rice, North Texas, under 59.5. Those are the three bets. Enjoy rivalry weekend. Hopefully you had a fun Thanksgiving. Have a fun, safe rest of the weekend. Let's cash these tickets. Thanks for tuning in.